Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Good Tues News Day, the second Good Tues News Day of the first of the year, the second of the second week of Good Tues News Day. We're going to cover all the good news that's happening out there
First
in
Tuesday
the news
of the
cycle.
year.
Yeah, it's first Tuesday of the year. So let's welcome to the Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look at our stories 10 to 15 minutes we started and we haven't had any caffeine. So, what's in the good news cycle today? Today on Before Coffee, the cheapest supermarket of 2024 has been named and is not Lidl. A woman's cancer-free after receiving UK's first liver transplant for advanced bowel cancer.
A new way to view money and happiness.
Award for teen who used cancer diagnosis as springboard to help others.
And more positive news, old friends are an untapped source of connection and well-being, and touching yourself is also good for your mind.
In culture news, Zendaya and Tom Holland might be engaged, and of course people are being normal about it.
It's National Bubble Bath Day, so lay down and relax and enjoy. January. Actually, it's January 7th. This thing says January 8th. All right. Anyway, it's one of those things on today, January 7th, 2024, on Before Coffee. It's National Bobblehead Day, January 7th, 2024. For some reason, my stupid thing came up at January 8th. So I might want to do that again. I don't know.
Nah, it doesn't matter. It's part of the show now.
Yeah, it's not National Bubble Bath Day. That's tomorrow.
A lot of bubbles going on today. Yeah.
Thanks, Internet.
All right, let's start with our first news story, which is coming out of the UK. This is on The Independent by Mathilde Grandjean. The cheapest supermarket in 2024 has been revealed by consumer website Which? Using an independent price comparison website, the research tracked thousands of grocery prices across the 8 of the UK's biggest supermarkets: Aldi, Asda, Lidl, and Morrisons, Ocado, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, and Waitrose, to find out how each shop was charging for everyday items throughout the year. And the winner is Aldi. The German discounter beat its supermarket rival Lidl as the cheapest. Results show a December shopping list. 6 groceries cost £100 on an average at Aldi. So that's 56 different items, depending on what those are. I don't know. They didn't really detail it, but Lidl came a close second, with the same shopping list costing £1.19 more at 101.48. With the supermarket's loyalty scheme, Lidl Plus, a $1.27 more without. Lidl also remained in second place behind Aldi as the cheapest supermarket for smaller shops throughout the year. Like a local smaller shop, like a corner shop instead of like a big supermarket. Results published on Sunday, which was January 5th, showed Aldi remained the cheapest supermarket in all 12 months of the year for the smaller shopping list of groceries, including staples such as milk, butter, and bread. According to the study, shoppers who stocked up at the store saved an average of £393 over the course of the year, compared with those who shopped at a Waitrose, the most expensive alternative. I mean, that place sounds expensive. Harry Rose, editor of Which magazine, said, "Our research shows Aldi has retained its crown as the UK's cheapest supermarket in 2024. After the added expense of the festive period, many households will be looking to cut costs. Our analysis shows that by switching supermarkets, shoppers can make a significant savings, highlighting the advantages of shopping around where possible." Waitrose was $29.55 pricier than Aldi in December. That's almost £30 pricier, at a $129.83, and remained the most expensive supermarket for shops for every month in 2026. That could be almost $300 extra in costs a year just shopping at Waitrose over Aldi. The list of 56 items analyzed by Which in December included both branded and own brand items such as bird-eyed peas, Hovis bread, milk and butter. Analysis included special offer prices and loyalty prices where applicable, but not multi-buys. The study also found Asda to be the cheapest supermarket for larger trolley of 150 items, but only for 9 months a year. The research explained this is because the supermarket is facing a strong challenge from Tesco club card prices, which have made Tesco cheaper in the 3 out of 7 months, which, again, loyalty prices in analysis. Their study of bigger shops do not include Aldi or Lidl because they do not always stock some of the products on the shopping list. Waitrose was the most expensive supermarket for a larger trolley of items every month in 2024, apart from September. Yeah, that's kind of the one even here in the Netherlands, the one problem with Aldi and Lidl is that they don't always have all the things you need, and they don't always have the same kind of stuff you not want. So there might be like a certain brand of, I don't know, olive oil you like buying, and they just don't have it, and you don't want to try new olive oil because what if it's not even real? Because we did that story 2 years ago, right, about fake olive oil. So
right. Yeah.
But what did you want to say? You were watching something?
I was saying they don't have the selection.
Yeah.
You have no choice. It's like Walmart was for years. Like, oh, you got Walmart brand and the other brand, and that's it.
Well, yeah, I don't know what it's like in the U.S.
That's all you got.
So.
Right.
But you're saying it's basically the same.
That's what Walmart was like.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's what Walmart was like. Okay. Well, Aldi's is like that too. Yeah, Aldi's is like that. It's cheaper, but you got no real selections. You got what they got.
Yeah. No,
it's more like a mom and pop store in that way.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting thing too, because that's why they were including the larger shopping list where you're buying like bulk items. You know, I'm going to buy 15 kegs of beer or something. Sometimes Aldi or Lidl doesn't really provide bulk buying like that. They definitely have it, right? Because you've been in a Lidl and an Aldi, whichever one. They're basically the same. It's basically just boxes full with stuff. They don't put it on shelves. They don't make it pretty usually. They just put it on a box.
Right.
Like they just took it out of the warehouse.
And you rent your cart. You rent your cart. And you buy your bags.
Yeah.
You buy your bags here in Oregon. You got to buy your shopping bags.
Yeah.
So I always save my paper bags when I go back to the store.
Yeah, here in the Netherlands, you actually just buy one plastic bag, like the more stronger. I guess not really plastic. It's more like a tote bag. And that's your permanent shopping bag forever. My tote shopping bag.
That's it. Until it rips.
But yes, Waitrose was the most expensive supermarket for a larger trolley of items every month in 2024, apart from September. In December, a Waitrose shop cost a total of $458.12 pounds on average. That's crazy. Wow. That's the average. That means you could probably spend even more. But to be fair, it is December when people get kind of buying crazy and start saying, ooh, let me buy this cute little ornament for under the tree that you're going to see for like 12 days.
I need a giant teddy bear.
Yeah, exactly. In more good news, I guess that's more good shopping news. In good human news, a woman is cancer-free after receiving UK's first liver transplant for advanced bowel cancer. This is also on The Independent by Alex Croft. A young woman has received a second chance at life after undergoing the UK's first ever liver transplant for advanced bowel cancer. Bianca Pire refused to accept that prolonging of her life was the only option when she was diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer, which is spread to her liver. I don't want to sound kind of ignorant or arrogant or anything like that, but I just didn't feel in my gut that was going to be it. Spring River from Manchester said of the moment she heard her poor prognosis. Following the transplant, targeted drug therapy and chemotherapy, Ms. Bray now has no remaining signs of cancer in her body. When she first visited her GP in Wigan as a result of complication and bloating, she was referred to her local hospital. High levels of blood were discovered in her stool. Miss Piera was 29 when she was told in November 2021 that she had stage 4 bowel cancer, the most severe kind, despite the fact she didn't have really bad symptoms at all. After the colonoscopy, a doctor said her prognosis was not good. He said, "We are looking at a prolonging your life rather than a cure. I just remember everything slowed down," Miss Piera told me. Although accepting the diagnosis, Miss Piera refused to accept the outlook and was so bleak. When her mother asked about a possible transplant, medics said it would not be feasible. Miss Piera was referred to Christie NHS Foundation Trust's local treatment center in December that year, where she underwent 37 rounds of targeted drug called Panitumumab. Wait, let me try this again. Panitumumab. No, there's too many M's, dude. Panitumumab. Yeah, okay. I'm never gonna say that again. Alongside chemotherapy for 2.5 years. Wow. Chemotherapy for 2 years. Hell nah. Yeah, I see why some people are like, you know what, I'll just die. A stronger, but she didn't want to give up, and that's the great thing about this story. A strong response to the treatment meant she was able to have an operation to remove the bowel tumor in May 2023. The tumors in her liver remained and were inoperable. With cancer in her bowels having been removed, doctors started looking at liver transplants. After being added to the transplant list in February 2024, Ms. Pira found a donor and had the operation last summer at Leeds Hospital NHS Trust. Within 4 weeks of going under the knife, I was able to drive and walk the family dogs. It was really quite incredible, she said. To go from being told I'd only have a short time to live, now being cancer-free is the greatest gift. I've been given a second chance at life, and I'm going to grab it with both hands. I'm so grateful to the family who donate their loved ones' liver. I do believe this is a cure. They're always hesitant to say that, obviously, but I am cancer-free right now. Miss Kalina Marty, Miss Pierre is an oncologist. An oncologist is a cancer doctor, for anyone who doesn't know. After Christie said, to see that Bianca has had such a positive outcome is wonderful. We look at the tumor cells in her liver. After it had been removed, they weren't active. While they killed the tumor in her liver, chemotherapy as well. This is excellent news, and we hope that this means the cancer won't come back. Thanks to the generosity of organ donors, their loved ones, we can now access liver transplants for some patients, which is fantastic. Dr. Ian Rowe, honorary consultant and hepatologist at the Teaching Hospital NHS Trust, said, "We are, of course, indebted to the family of the organ donor. As is made clear with Bianca's case, organ donation saves lives. It is important that people register their decision to donate on the NHS donor register. Make their decision known to the loved ones. Families will always be consulted on any decisions around donation." Miss Priya is looking forward to the London holiday this year and is working on improving her fitness. My second liver is going well, she said. I get tests on that, and I just had my second scan, and that's all really good. Mm-hmm. Yes, I also heard stories about organ donors. Ivanka here in the chat is saying some people if there's a theory, right? You can't prove it. There's a conspiracy theory that if you on your list say organ donor at the hospital, a doctor will try less hard to save your life because hey, free organ. Make sure that they don't survive we can get some. I think that is. For parts. I'm sure that's happening somewhere because you have bad apples everywhere. I'm sure there might be doctors who are doing that, but I don't think that should be the reason to not donate your organs or sign up to donate your organs. But that's my opinion. I don't mind dying to give my liver to somebody who needs it because, whatever's going on with me, I don't know. That's just life, I guess. But that's not what the story is about. The story is about not giving up and continuing to strive to living. After getting a terrible cancer diagnosis at 29, I can't imagine how that must have felt. Being like, you're not even half your age. Time to die. It's like, nah, actually, I don't think so. And that's what was really brave about her. Right? Her saying, you know what? I don't think so. So there's my stories. On to yours.
Great news for the hope of surviving cancer. Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay, we're going to be closing stuff here. And on to more good news and good news Tuesday. This is from greatergood.berkeley.edu, a new way to view money and happiness. We like money, we like happiness. Do they equal the same thing? Let's find out. For decades now, scientists have been trying to figure out what role wealth plays in our satisfaction with life. While some studies have found that money doesn't buy happiness, at least not beyond a certain income point, others have found money buys much more significant role. Wealthier countries seem happier overall, and citizens in those countries enjoy more well-being as their income climbs. But a new study brings another wrinkle to the conversation. Previous studies have tended to focus on whether people in wealthier Western urbanized countries. The previous studies have focused on people in wealthier Western urbanized countries. This one looked at those living in small-scale rural communities that depend on nature for livelihoods and with no or little cash incomes. Some are indigenous, most are located in Africa, South America, and Asia. The results yield new insights into the relationship between money and happiness. One heading here says, smaller communities, bigger happiness. As part of a larger study that affects climate change, researchers surveyed almost 3,000 people living in 19 small communities around the world about how satisfied they were with their lives on a scale of 0 to 10. Since the communities studied didn't have formal cash-based economies or record-keeping, household income was estimated from the market value of assets that would have been purchased with cash when available. In analyzing the results, researchers found a wide range of life satisfaction between individuals, but the patterns were quite different from similar studies in other parts of the world. While indigenous people with their greater personal income were slightly more satisfied with life than those with less income, overall they were much happier than their Western counterparts, even at very low incomes. In fact, people living in these small-scale societies reported an average score of 6.8 out of 10, even though most of them lived on less than the equivalent of $1,000 per year. Imagine living on that, huh? These are very different results than what you might find in the Gallup Poll of World Values Survey, both of which look at how income affects life satisfaction. For example, people in the Gallup Poll didn't report these levels of happiness until they reached $25,000 level of income. To study author Eric Galbraith, this suggests that income is not necessarily strongly tied to happiness for everyone and that these people are missing the mark. Of course, $25,000 is not a whole lot of money in our society, that's for sure. Basically, these small-scale societies show that there are powerful ways to achieve life satisfaction that are not apparent from looking at industrialized societies alone, he says. Interestingly, though, living in a particular village mattered when it came to life satisfaction. Some villages tended to have happier people in them than others. However, the difference wasn't related to overall income in that community, unlike what seems to be this case in Western countries or even in smaller non-Western countries around the world. This may seem counterintuitive, given the tie between individual wealth and happiness among the villagers. That's probably because the connection to income is so weak that other factors dominate, say Galbraith. He speculates that the difference in happiness levels between villages are probably due to other non-economic factors associated with living in these communities, such as feeling more closely connected to nature and living more independent community, not having a lot of wealth and inequality. Wealth inequality is the key right there. If everybody's on the same level, we're not going, man, I wish I had 5 cars like that guy. But that guy invented, hair. Well, he invented hair. Shit, he should have 5 cars then, But people in their envy, they drive you to buy stuff you don't need. Anyway, not having wealth inequality seems important, and not experience social ills like those you might find in more industrialized society, such as drug addiction. Though we can't know for sure why people in these communities report being so satisfied with life, we should still take note of these findings, says Galbraith. For one thing, he says the researchers have not been including the views of indigenous people in worldwide happiness reports. So the reports, like Gallup and World Values Survey, may be skewed towards finding a stronger relationship between income and well-being than is warranted. Of course, it's easier to get a hold of people for surveys if they got a cell phone.
Yeah.
And they got a laptop. If they don't have that stuff, then it's like, we got to go to their village and talk to them in person. It's not even
that stuff, but also it's not even having the technology, but also having the infrastructure.
Where's the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, some people don't have internet. Some people actually generally don't have good internet. They don't have cell coverage. They're just living in like a black zone of radio.
The only contact is missionaries or somebody like that.
Yeah.
In addition, governments may be creating policies aimed at increasing citizen income to improve life satisfaction with considering other important factors for the happiness of other communities. Regardless of what explains the high satisfaction of these communities, we can learn from their example. One potential takeaway is that we should question the assumption that greater income leads to greater happiness. I've actually never met a happy rich person. They always seem like they're looking to make more money. And that doesn't bring them happiness, but the pursuit probably does. Perhaps we should realize that living in a consumer-based, ad-filled world is making us think we need more money than we have. I don't ever think I've never thought I needed more money than I have, unless I really owed a lot of money. That's the only time. And creating a desire for something irrelevant to our well-being. Instead, we want to pay closer attention to other findings from the science of happiness to understand what makes for a good life, says Galbraith, whether it's being close to connection with nature, strengthening our social bonds, or removing inequalities among us. The fact that rich people tend to be more satisfied with their lives can make it seem that having lots of money is the clearest route to happiness, says Galbraith, but the things that truly make people happy don't need to cost money. There are really other things, other ways to get to a satisfying life. There's good news. You don't have to be rich to be happy. You just got to figure out what happiness is, right? And then,
well, according to Vanka here,
don't even know.
What's not about the money. It's about if you have what you need when you need it, and money just happens to help with that. Yeah.
It's security. Money is security to me.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's security. Having extra money to me just means I can buy stuff for other people. Or I can take care of that thing that that's broken thing, right? That needs fixing. But it ain't like, oh my God, I gotta have billions of dollars and control the world. There's something broken about you if you need that. Your brain isn't working. We don't need megalomaniacs. We don't need multi-billionaires. They don't serve a function. Back to you.
Okay. Let's go from that great news about there is a small tint of there's this I never remember what it's called and talked about it, but this is the idea that primitive people are better than modernized people, right? Because in a way, right, people who are living in smaller communities in a way that is more primitive than living in some sort of cityscape where you can bother people by calling them every 10 seconds.
I think it's all part of just getting older in general. is you witness things from when they were hard to do, and then technology made it easy. And then you see these younger people, and you go, "You have no idea how hard it used to be."
Yeah,
and it happens with every generation.
Yeah,
I'm sure you say it, and you'll say it 20 years from now, right? Anyway, back to you.
Okay. From that story, let's talk about some more cancer, but this time using it as a springboard to help others. This is from by Craig Williams. He has the Duke of Edinburgh. But this is by Craig Williams on the Herald Scotland. An inspirational Scottish teenager who used her cancer diagnosis as a springboard to support other young patients has been recognized by HRH, the Duke of Edinburgh, and the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, DOFE's charity. This is Youth Celebration. Rosa Ross from Edinburgh was selected as a winner of the Boundary Breaker of the category for resilience and selfish determination after she refused to let a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin lymphoma stop her from doing her Duke of Edinburgh's Award. The 14-year-old, who was selected by category judges Jodie Onsley, aka Fury from Gladiators, and DOFE Youth Ambassador Albie and Freya, was celebrated alongside 6 other This Is Youth winners at a star-studded event hosted by the Duke of Buckingham Palace. They shared their stories in afternoon tea with His Royal Highness and this year's This Is Youth judges. Now in its second year, This Is Youth recognizes the amazing stories behind the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, its 500,000 participants, and nearly 40,000 volunteers celebrating the astonishing things young people achieve, and the remarkable dedication of adults who support them. Yeah, that's what these youths need, adults who support them. The DOFE charity received hundreds of This Is Youth nominations in 7 categories, with the final winners chosen by panels including the DOFE ambassadors. and celebrities. McFly's Harry Judd and Mum Emma Judd, actor Oliver Phelps, athletes and TV gladiator Jodie Onsley, SAS, Who Dares Win star Jason Fox, influencer Fats Timpo, and high-profile chef John Watts and broadcaster Carson. Oh, here we go. Gananaskariam. That is a last name. Commenting on her win, Rosa Ross, this is Youth Boundary Breaker of the Year, said, "Really amazing. I just wasn't expecting it at all. I was very surprised that I found out I still wake up and sometimes think, wow, I'm an inspiration to everyone everywhere." Yes, it's amazing. It's actually amazing. This is Youth Boundary Breaker of the Year judge Jodie Onsley said, "Rosa's determination and resilience are among the reasons she stood out to me as this year's Boundary Breaker of the Year. Receiving a cancer diagnosis is tough, no matter your age, and I'm in a complete awe of her positivity and selfishness during the time of her life. Rosa's positivity knows no bound, and to hear how that positivity coupled with her DOFE has brought young people together, reducing isolation and providing reassurance, makes her a shining example of what This Is Youth Boundary Breaker just stands for. Congratulations, Rosa, and you are so deserving of this recognition." Rosa was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin lymphoma in January 2024, 4 months after starting her bronze DOFE. Okay, I think, before we continue this, I think I need to explain to some people what the Duke of Edinburgh Award is. For those of you who aren't obsessed with British culture and know every little thing. So let me look that up for you real quick so I can properly explain it, because I'm not going to explain it off of my head. Okay, Duke of Edinburgh's Award, or DOFE, is a youth awards program founded in the United Kingdom in 1956 by Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, which has since expanded to 100 nations. The awards recognize adolescents and young adults for completing a series of self-improvement exercise models on per-hand solutions to assist the declines of modern youth. So you have to do certain things. So first thing is volunteering, undertaking some sort of service to individuals in the community. Physical, improving an area of sport, dance, or fitness activities. Skills, including developing a practical or social skill for personal and personal interest. Expedition, which is planning, training for, and completing an adventurous journey nationally or abroad. That's what the Duke of Edinburgh is famous for. Kids go on a hike through the mountains or somewhere, right? In Scotland, it could be like the Highlands. In Wales, they would go through the valleys, and you just walk, and you say, "I did my expedition for my DOFE." It's kind of like being a Boy Scout, I guess, or a Girl Scout, in a way. A lot of kids, that's like something you put on your resume saying, "I have a DOFE, I'm a dedicated, whatever." And at gold level, participants must do an additional 5th residential section, which involves staying and working away from home for 5 days and doing a shared activity. In a way, the award is kind of forcing youths to become adults, showing them what it's like to actually put yourself out there, especially after the kind of helicopter parroting era, But this was started in 1956, so even in 1956, the boomers were worried that kids weren't doing enough, so we gotta give you an award to make you do. Okay. Now that we explained what the Duke of Edinburgh's Award is for anybody who doesn't know what that is. Right, where was I? Okay, so 4 months after she started her bronze, which would be like the first kind of helping people and stuff, she was diagnosed with cancer. Rosa was first alerted to her symptoms in December 2020.
Cancer.
When her singing teacher noticed an abnormality in her breathing. Later the month, she started to experience a high fever, extreme chest pain, and shortness of breath. It turned out to be the effects of a fist-sized tumor pushing on her heart and lungs. Ooh, that's awful. Rosa started treatment in January 2024, spending over a month in hospital, where she endured 4 cycles of treatment, 8 days of chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and steroids and operations as an inpatient, before having further shorter cycles of treatment as an outpatient. 8 days of chemotherapy. Well, at least it wasn't the 2 years of the previous cancer patient we covered. Despite this, she wanted to use her DOFE to give herself something to focus on and to help those around her. That's actually really important. Know anybody who's had cancer, they actually give you like a therapist to kind of keep you alive, because if you give up mentally, there's no hope for you, really. If you're like, you know what, this doesn't matter, who cares? Your body just gives up. So it's actually really good that she gave herself the DOV to keep going. Rosa incorporated a physiotherapy for a partially collapsed lung into her singing lessons. She continued for a skills section. She used her volunteering section to reduce her young cancer patients' isolation by helping to organize to bring them together and offering support to those who worried about hair loss, all whilst undergoing weeks of intense treatment herself. Rosa, who did her bronze DOFE through the Academy, have the cough, through Trinity Academy and the City of Edinburgh Council, was determined to continue singing as part of her DOFE skills section. She said, "My lungs had partially collapsed with treatment, so part of my physio was blowing bubbles to try and turn my lungs to work. I used to sing a lot of Taylor Swift. It was the highlight of my week and really good for increasing my lung capacity. I had to have nasal oxygen and I was sleeping sitting upright as the treatment was pressing on my lungs, so it was definitely a challenge." Commenting on how her DOFE volunteering section helped her get through treatment, Rosa said, "I had the mindset of, if I have to go through this full experience, there must be something good to come out of it. I could see how going through cancer treatment absolutely sucks. And if I could do anything to make it a tiny bit easier for other younger people, just a tiny smile or laugh I wanted. It meant I could enjoy aspects of my time while also helping others. I support the staff by going and having a chat with any young people who are worried about losing their hair. I could give a first-hand experience and say, yes, it's terrible, but when it comes back, it looks like this. And I'd let them try and on fun things, like a pink wig or a headband that looks like hair, or a high wig. I think it makes it less scary. I was losing my hair at the same time, so it felt like we were in it together. One of the kids left me a note saying thank you and signed it to a new friend, which meant a lot. So there you go, the heartwarming account of Rosa, who not only had cancer and got through it, but also helped other kids deal with their cancer and hair loss and all that. And she got this great Duke of Edinburgh's award for being such an amazing boundary breaker award, as they call it. And that's my story. Cancer sucks, but these guys didn't let it stop them, and that's what you should take from this.
Nope. Just keep on fighting, keep on going. Don't worry, cancer will pass somehow. Just have a positive mental attitude. Sometimes that's enough. What else is enough? Well, if you're depressed, maybe connecting with old friends. This is from positivenewsus.org. Old friends are an untapped source of connection and well-being. Given the pain of loneliness and the meaning we derive from relationships, you would think we'd be doing all we can to stay connected to others in life. But a 2024 paper reveals a big missed opportunity for connection. Old friend. How big is that missed opportunity? Across 6 studies with over 2,500 participants from the US, UK, and Canada, Laura B. Eknin and Gillian M. Sandstrom found that fewer than 1/3 of people sent a message to an old friend when they'd given time to do so, even though they said they would be happy to reconnect and thought their friend would be appreciative too. Why? According to surveys, the biggest barriers are worries that our friends won't want to hear from us or that it would be awkward. These barriers are hard to overcome. Ekman and Sandstrom tried and failed to ease people's hesitations by reminding them how much they appreciate such a note themselves, encouraging them not to listen to their second thoughts, and framing the message as an act of kindness. It turns out that old friends feel like strangers to us, potentially activating all our misgivings about talking to someone we don't know. People are generally interested in connecting, but prefer that the other persons initiate, the researchers explain. At the same time, the research suggests we overestimate how willing other people are to be the ones to initiate it, putting us in a bind. However, one tactic did work. If people started by sending a few messages to current friends and acquaintances, basically practicing the act of reaching out, they were more likely to contact an old friend. The paper adds the research suggested that our assumptions get in the way of our connections in life. For example, we overestimate the discomfort of expressing gratitude, and we underestimate how much more compliments and small kindness mean to other people. and how willing they are to help us. If you find it strangely hard to get in touch with someone after time has passed, you're certainly not alone. But old friends might just be the low-hanging fruit of more connection in life, and they're only a short hello away. So there's good news. It's part of a longer article, of course, but I'm not going to read a book here because everybody will just go back to sleep. And another study, we're going to talk about happiness simply from hugging yourself. That's right. Get home, get alone, lay down in bed, and just give yourself a big old hug.
Mm-hmm.
This is from the same site. A simple 20-second practice can have lasting benefits for stress and mental health. That's right. Many of us lead busy lives that put us at risk for burnout. Though different well-being practices could help, like mindfulness, meditation, and gratitude journaling, for example, we may think we don't have time for them. But what if you could feel significantly better from just 20 seconds of simple practice? Findings from a new study published in Behavior Research and Therapy suggest you can. Just 20 seconds of self-compassionate touch daily can calm your nerves and improve your mental health. In this study, led by Eli Sussman, a former Greater Good Science Center research fellow, and his colleagues, 135 young adults were randomly assigned to practice either self-compassionate touch or dexterity exercise 20 seconds a day for a month. Self-compassionate touch involved placing a hand over your heart and the opposite hand over your belly, though people were told they could try other self-soothing touch. The dexterity exercise involved touching various fingers to your thumb in a particular pattern. The participants were also encouraged to pick a cue to help support their practice, something they did every day that might prompt them to do it. Before and after they began practicing, participants filled out questionnaires measuring their self-compassion, positive feelings, anxiety and depression symptoms, and stress. The researchers also measured how much people adhered to their practice over time. While analyzing the results, they found that among people who practice at least 28 days of the month, those in the self-compassionate touch group had a greater self-compassion and they experienced less stress, anxiety, and depression. In comparison to the tapping group, less tapping your fingers or something like that. If you're going to be a magician, right? You're going to prestidigitation. As the researchers concluded, daily micro-practices have the potential for augmenting single session interventions and for offering help with more time-intensive approaches may be less accessible. In other words, you don't need an hour a day to make a difference in your well-being. Even 20 seconds of self-compassionate touch and perhaps other brief practices as well may do the trick. So yeah, just give yourself a hand over the heart.
Yeah.
The other on your belly and do that for 20 seconds. I would just give myself a big hug or whatever.
I mean, there's a reason why meditation... There's a reason why meditation is so good, because it is kind of self-care, right? So.
Right, but this study is saying you don't even need meditation. You need like 20 seconds a day. It's enough to lighten your load. Anyway, back to you.
Count to 20 to yourself and you're good to go. All right.
And I sent you a video.
Okay. Then let's go to our next story, which is about... well, celebrity couples. That's right. You've got the famous Bradalina, whatever, and you've got the, Bladgelina, and which is not so great anymore. Actually, of having a divorce, but
Bennifer. Don't forget Bennifer.
Yeah, Bennifer. You got. I don't know. I'm looking at a list of all these famous. I don't know most of these because I wasn't live. I guess supposedly Sarah Jessica Parker and Robert Downey Jr. were a famous celebrity couple. Power couple? Yeah, I had no idea. Demi Moore and Bruce Willis? Oh, I do remember that. Demi Moore, Bruce Willis? Yeah. Anyways, following the lines of Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp, we've got Tom Holland and Zendaya. They've been the kind of power couple of Hollywood for actually quite a while now. And there is a rumor that they might actually be tying the knot. So that's the positive news here, I guess. It's not, love isn't dead. You know those people out there who are like, if these guys break up, love isn't real. As if they know everything, every detail about their personal life because they see them on the movies.
Vicariously. Living vicariously through others.
This is from Sean Kane on The Guardian. Zendaya appeared on the Golden Globes red carpet wearing a diamond the size of a quality street chocolate. Cue internet hysteria. On her ring finger specifically, right? You can wear a ring anywhere else but there. What is it about Tom Holland and Zendaya? No, really. Please, tell Sean. Both of these perfectly good actors seem like really nice and interesting people. And if for some reason they attract an intense level of scrutiny, that would be more understandable directed at things like insurance policies or war crimes. On the 5th of January, when Zendaya appeared on the Golden Globes red carpet wearing a diamond the size of quality street chocolate, all bets were off. She and Holland had to be engaged. Internet sleuths started sleuthing and within minutes had determined that the ring she wore was not from Bulgari, whose jewelry Zendaya is contractually obligated to wear as one of her brand ambassadors. People magazine reported that the ring appears to be a 5.02 carat east-west cushioned diamond button-back ring. Jessica McCoy listed in the engagement segment on the jewelry brand's website. Sure enough, someone found a photo of a similar ring on Zendaya's manicurist's Instagram, a post that the actor had liked all the way back in 2022. Elle, of course, then interviewed some jewelry experts who variously estimate the ring was worth anywhere between $100,000 to $500,000, which I'm sure you're glad you now know. By the 6th of January, a busy day for the sources of the couple. Everywhere, TMZ and People both were reporting they had confirmed Holland and Zendaya were engaged. If that is not enough official confirmation for you, Du Moy ran a blind item from a reader who claimed that the boyfriend of someone who once tattooed them was the floorist who had put together the arrangements for their engagement. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy that made the flowers for their engagement celebration. Okay? They're engaged. So why are people so keen on this particular celebrity couple? Perhaps it is because both of them have grown up in the public eye. Started out as Billy Elliot in West End at 12, then went into film. Zendaya was a child model and Disney kid. They seem to genuinely like working together, which is sweet. Their first met playing love interest in Spider-Man films, and have both joined the cast of Christopher Nolan's upcoming adaptation of The Odyssey. Holland is emotionally aware in the way that young male stars increasingly are, talking earnestly about his mental health and sobriety. He is shorter than her, and they're both fine about that fact, which is widely celebrated by some and criticized by others, who have strange ideas about what they should get mad about. That guy is shorter than her! He needs to be 6 foot tall. That's the rule. Some alpha male manosphere told me, and he's breaking all that down, and I can't handle it. On social media,
don't tell Tom Cruise that.
On social media, they're often found jointly praised with unnerving intensity, mainly for being unproblematic, surely a low bar, and authentic by people who have never met them and likely never will. Or perhaps it is because of the implicit provocation Sean will call parasocially challenged. As a famous couple who have an aversion to having their private life picked by vultures, this has been cynically respun by some as a savvy media strategy, which in turn has seemed to provoke even more vulture-like behavior. Their every interview picked clean to hints about the relationship. Our relationship is something that we are incredibly protective of and we keep as sacred as possible, Holland told The Hollywood Reporter in 2023. We don't think that we owe it to anyone. It's all saying. It has nothing to do with our careers. Every hint at the relationship is now poured over like a treasure map. Last week, Holland men's health, he avoided walking carpet with Zendaya at a premiere so he wouldn't draw attention away from her. Because it's not my moment, it's her moment, and if we go together, it's about us. Which was either the greenest green flag ever, or some cooed online, or went down about as well as a fart in a submarine. There's reasons that no sane person will ever understand. Even Zendaya's decision to maybe announce their engagement by wearing a ring out in public was inordinately divisive. Either a flawless soft launch or an awful cry for attention. Yeah, you can't ever win when you're in the public eye, so don't try to. November, Vogue UK ran a whole article unpicking why a slightly nothing photo they posted of the couple smiling politely at the Holland's non-alcoholic alcoholic beer line became the most liked post in magazine's history. Their conclusion? Why, they're just one of us, of course. With Vogue citing Zendaya's apparent bike delight in decidedly minor activities like going to Waitrose and Gales, and Holland's fondness for eating at Ottolenghi. Well, if they're just like us, can't celebrities just do stuff that has no greater significance? Zendaya goes to Waitrose and no one is around to hear it. Doesn't make a sound. We bet their Gale's treat order is brilliantly conventional. A scone for her and one of those little brownie fingers things for him. That's why they're so beloved. Christ! Do you remember when we behaved normally about celebrities? Yeah. Where do I? There you go! There's the celebratory obsession with Zendaya getting engaged probably 3 years ago to her manicurist pictures where she had that ring since 2022. Wow. Crazy. Maybe they're already married. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the highlight of this story. Just like, yeah, we were married in 2021 actually. Guys, didn't even catch it.
Yeah,
the paparazzis didn't even know about it. You losers.
Yeah, it was one of those arranged marriages.
Yeah, arranged.
10 years ago.
Yeah, they were arranged to get married at 12 actually. So they've been married the whole time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, they're both dancers. They both can dance. I mean, the show Zendaya on was about dancing, and Tom Holland was in a musical with dancing. Elliot was about dancing. So maybe they were set up in a secret dancing club, Hollywood Dancers Club. Got married from that.
The first rule of dance club, of course, is that you don't talk about dance club.
Exactly. And definitely don't tell anybody about your wife and husband.
Secret relationship.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. That's the second rule.
Yeah. But that's
All
the story.
Right. I guess we're on to This Day in History.
Yep, This Day in History time.
This Day in History. 1800 on this day, Millard Fillmore was born. He was the 13th president of the United States, famous for practically doing nothing. 1844 on this date, Saint Bernadette, the French girl whose visions of the Virgin Mary led to the founding of the Shrine of Lourdes, was born in that town. The young girl who hallucinated. Yes, she was born. Happy birthday to her. She became a saint through her hallucinations. 1891, Zora Neale Hurston, an American folklorist and writer associated with the Harlem Renaissance, who celebrated black culture in rural South, was born. Happy birthday to Zora Neale Hurston. In 1955, this is the subject of our short mic drop, American contralto Marian Anderson first performed at the Metropolitan Opera in New York City. Why is that important? Because she was banned up until then because, I don't know, melanin on her skin. What a horrible, horrible person to have the wrong color
match
skin.
The uniformity of ballet if you're brown. Everyone has to look like a white, look exactly the same.
Well, it's not a ballet, it's an opera.
Opera even. Okay, sorry.
Not a ballet. Not a lot of singing in ballets. 1957, American broadcast journalist Katie Couric, who was the first solo female anchor in major network CBS News, was born. So she was the first solo female anchor.
And she's still famous for that.
I'm pretty sure Connie Chung was the first non-solo, but she was with Dan Rather, and they both hated it. 1968, unscrewed U.S. space probe Surveyor 7 was launched, and a few days later made a soft landing on the moon. I don't know what unscrewed U.S. space probe means. That's like, it's like, we have the space probe, it's screwed into the ground, we got to get it out. I don't know what that even means. Uncrewed. Aha, uncrewed. I can't read. It's not unscrewed. Uncrewed means no crew.
It's not even Monday, dude.
It was also unscrewed. They also unscrewed it. That's kind of funny.
So it could fly away.
In 1979, they had to screw it to the ground. That's right. Right. 1979, Vietnamese forces took control of Phnom Penh, Cambodia, ousting the Khmer Rouge and its leader Pol Pot, who was a horrible fucking dictator, killed 1 million people. It's the Khmer Rouge, very famous for just slaughtering people who cooperated with the U.S. 2001, John Kafur was inaugurated as president of Ghana in that country's first peaceful transition from one elected government to another. Still peace holding out there. 2003, by presidential decree, Christmas, the day on the Coptic Orthodox calendar, was celebrated for the first time as a national holiday in Egypt, an almost entirely Muslim country. Celebrating a Christmas holiday.
And I thought unity was impossible in the world.
In other stupid religious news, two gunmen. On 2015, two gunmen connected to Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula at Yemeni-based militant group stormed the Paris officers at Charlie Hebdo and killed 12 people in retribution for the satirical magazine's portrayals of the Prophet Muhammad. The attackers were later killed by police. So that was worth it. Somebody made a comic book about our hero. We gotta kill him. Religions are fucking stupid. They are fucking stupid. Sorry. If you practice a religion, good for you, but don't force it on anybody else. We don't care. Featured event in 1610, Galileo's discovery of Jupiter's 4 moons. Again, religion, another reason Galileo was locked up the rest of his life after he invented it. They wanted him to continue to make telescopes, but they didn't want to put him in prison. So they put him in a nice house and let him go anywhere and talk about, hey, did you know that we actually go around the sun, not the opposite? And the Catholic Church is like, you're a heretic. So anyway, Galileo, on this day in 1610, while he was being a heretic, discovered Jupiter's 4 moons. During this month in 1610, Italian astronomer Galileo made his earth-shaking discovery that 4 moons revolve around Jupiter and that the telescope reveals many more stars than are visible to the naked eye. Of course, Jupiter has way more than 4 moons.
Yeah.
Here, our feature biography is, of course, the telescopes at that time, although it was the most advanced in the world, still could only see the 4 moons, which you could almost see a couple of Jupiter's moons if it's a clear night. You can see them almost with the naked eye if you got really good eyes.
Yeah, I think Titan is the biggest one, right?
It's Io and something else. Don't put me on the spot.
Jupiter's moons.
Io is one of them, and the other one you can see. It's quite big. It's as big as Earth, or even
Callisto?
bigger. Europa, I believe. Europa and Io, I believe, are your bigger ones.
Oh yeah, Ganymede.
I could be wrong. You're looking it up.
Io,
Ganymede,
Europa,
yeah,
Ganymede, and Callisto. One. Yeah, those are the 4 that he discovered.
I'm pretty good. I got 2.
Yeah.
I got 2 of them. That's pretty good for an old guy. It's happy birthday to Emperor Hirohito of Japan. He was born in 1901 in April. Well, it's not his birthday, sorry. He was born in 1901. He died on this day in 1989 at the age of 87 in Tokyo. He was also born in Tokyo April 29th in 1901. Other birthdays today: Zora Neale Hurston, we already talked about. Omar al-Bashir, president of Sudan's birthday, born in 1944. Katie Couric, we already covered. It's Nicolas Cage's birthday. Nicolas Cage turned 60 today. He's in 7 billion movies, so check out a Nicolas Cage movie if you get a chance. You probably just check one out.
Face Off is a good one.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's
the one where the. Oh yeah.
National
My
Treasure.
favorite Nicolas Cage movie is. Oh, Raising Arizona is.
That's a good one. Favorite. Yeah, that one's fun.
You got the Coen brothers. You got John Goodman, right? You got Holly Hunter. Great movie. And 1967's birthday of Nick Clegg, a British politician. And what day is it today? It's not National Bubble Bath today. That's tomorrow, but you can still take one today. It's National Tempura Day. I probably will do that. It's Tempura Day, right on. And it's National Bobblehead Day. That's when you go to in the United States. I don't know if they do this in football in other countries, but your favorite player, they'll have, Jim Johnson bobblehead night, and Jim Johnson, the third baseman for the Mudville Nine, gets, this little image on a little doll that has a head that does this. Anyway, it's just explaining bobbleheads to everybody who doesn't know. I have a few, but they're in my collection back home. So those are your days. Those are your birthdays. That's your news. That's your good news or good Tuesday news days on January 7th, 2025 on Before Tempura.
All right. All right, to cover the things that were being asked in chat, if you want to do the Duke of Edinburgh Award and you're disabled, they do have help for you. So it's not just for people who are able-bodied, but also with disabilities. So there's a lot of wheelchair access routes you can do for the exploration part specifically. So you don't need to be able-bodied.
My age, I will need the wheelchair route.
I think it's a bit too late for you to do it because you're not a youth anymore. But hey, I don't know. Maybe there's an old people's one. Old people, keep going. Yeah. Hey, that's all that matters. Fury, also known as Jodie Onsley, is on a TV show called Gladiators, where people fight each other in a gladiator kind of tournament, not to the death. So that's who Jodie is. And what other questions I have in chat?
Yeah.
I'm just covering all these things that are being asked. Like,
right on, man.
I guess we covered the moon
Gotta do
thing.
the housekeeping.
So that's it.
Right on.
We're good to go.
We're all unscrewed here.
We're all unscrewed here. We've expanded our brains. Don't forget to give yourself 20 seconds of love today so that you can feel better and,
love yourself.
Love yourself for 20 seconds.
Love yourself, and you can't love anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Don't love anybody but yourself, I would argue.
Yeah.
You can't love anybody if you don't love yourself first.
Make sure you love yourself. Yeah. Accept yourself. Accept your failures. Accept your faults. You're beautiful as you are. Anyway.
And we will celebrate how wacky and weird humans can be tomorrow on Wacky and Weird Wednesday. So make sure you're subscribed to the Ali and Ron channel. Turn that notifications on. And like this video. Tell us down below what you will do to give yourself 20 seconds of love. And let's... Oh, I forgot to... Oh, no, I just slid in. Okay. I'm like so tired. I forgot if I did the thing that I did do. All right. That's the end of the show.
One more thing to do.
Let's go to the mic drop. All right, here we go.
75,000 mass before Lincoln Memorial.
Look at that crowd.
Colored contralto make her capital debut at the Great Emancipation.
They called her colored in those days.
Of
It's
course.
1939, by the way.
Yeah.
She was not allowed to sing at the White House because of racist assholes, because people are idiots.
With Secretary of the Treasury Morgenthau. Spectators include Supreme Court Justice Black, New York Senator Robert Wagner, and a host of notables. Here to listen to the voice acclaimed by many as the finest in a century.
In a century? Wow. And they try to keep this lady off stage.
Off the White House stage. Because of the Klan and the people in this country that are like, backward thinking morons that think they accomplish something by having white skin.
Yeah. Messed up. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Look at the size of that crowd. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.